Howdy Hey. Before you watch your video, please consider, if you enjoy it, liking and subscribing. Anyway, enjoy. Bye. Hello. Welcome in. We here are timeless timepieces, the premier watch emporium this side of anywhere. Thank you so much for stopping in today. What can I help you with? Are you just browsing, or would you like some help looking for a new watch? Oh, you'd like some help? Alright then. Well, before we get started, are you new around here? I don't quite recognize you. And well, it's a pretty small town, so I try to make a point to remember anyone who comes into my shop. And you're definitely memorable, my friend. Well, welcome to town. What brings you here? A nondescript fancy event. You don't want to be any more specific? I'm really query. No? You're not. Well, I'll get the information somehow. Secrets don't stay secret around here for too long. Well, I'm very glad you found us. I picked this secluded location because I thought it would give a very peaceful and laid-back atmosphere to the shop. However, it also makes it a lot harder for walk-in clients to find us. I hope by the end of today, though, you'll agree that this location and the atmosphere that it provides is certainly worth the loss of most of my business. For my records, did anybody recommend you come here, or did you find us online? Or are you a legitimate walk-in customer? Wonderful. Thank you. Now, you said you'd like some help, and I am very glad you did. Before we get started, can I offer you anything? Would you like water, a tea, or maybe an avocado? Now, I know it may seem odd to have in a watch shop, but it is a hobby for me. You see, I've loved avocado ever since I first tried one in a coffee shop. So, semi-recently, I saw an antique espresso machine at a garage sale, and I knew what I had to do. I had to go and buy an ice cream machine as well. But once I had both, I could start figuring out how to make the perfect avocado. Now, is there anything that you'd like? Wonderful. My associate can get that while we get started here. Now, well, what did you say you were looking for a watch for? Alright. Yeah, the aforementioned nondescript fancy event. I thought it was worth a try to see if you'd spill the beans, so to speak. Well, knowing that it's a formal event can help us make a selection. Do you know much about watches? Do you have an idea of what you'd like? If not, that's no problem at all. I'm always thrilled to initiate somebody into the magical world of horology. Yes, that's the study of watches, not the study of... Yeah, let's just move on, please. Okay, so you're new to watches. I kind of gathered that when you giggled at the word horology. Well, my friend, I will take the proverbial reins a little bit as I show you around, if you don't mind, then. Now, tell me if you want me to to stop or explain something, but I'll do my best to give you a good overview and pick out some pieces that I think will match you given your current aesthetic. You look very nice today, by the way. Very cute. Now, since you're looking for something for this undisclosed fancy event, I would recommend something small and slim and elegant. The traditional dress watch. The Seiko Presage would be an excellent choice, although not the only choice. I have many, many dress watches you can look at. However, let's not discount entirely the larger, bulkier styles. For example, dive watches they're quite chic right now. Although historically it would not have been something you would wear to a fancy party, the traditional attitude has relaxed, and something like this Omega Seamaster 300 or this Baltic Aquascape might very well be seen at a fancy event. Well, in the past, they would have been relegated to actual working divers. However, you can probably tell that I'm somewhat biased, but I would choose a traditional dress watch, something nice and thin. This is because it fits cleanly under your sleeve without getting stuck, and it gives you a very clean silhouette and a nice look. It doesn't have any unnecessary bulk on your wrist. Now, personally, I would also advocate for a very simple watch. I like watches to be an accent to one's whole outfit rather than the focal point. Extravagant watches can be distracting. They can take the eye away from the ensemble and put it on a soloist. If that's the intention, so be it. However, that would not be my intent. However, this is your choice, and you may choose whatever you wish. Now, before we dive into the watches themselves, I'd like to familiarize you a little bit with the inner workings of the watch. These are called movements. These are how the watches themselves work, how they tell time. We have a quartz watch, or the quartz movement. This is a very good option for somebody new to watches. It's a battery-powered watch that uses the resonant frequency of the quartz, which is a known property of the material. Thank you, physicists. Anyway, the quartz movement uses the piezoelectric effect to vibrate a quartz crystal at a known frequency, which the watch's regulator uses to tell time. This frequency depends on the size, shape, and plane of the cut of the quartz itself. Most quartz crystals are cut to oscillate at a frequency of about, or I should say precisely, 32,768 hertz. This use of material science makes quartz watches incredibly precise. They can lose, with a good movement, maybe plus or minus 20 seconds a month, and that can be brought down even further with even higher quality movements. This is a great comparison to mechanical watches, which we'll talk about next, but those can lose maybe about 20 or 30 seconds a day. So you can really see just how precise these quartz crystal movements are. Now, as I said, these quartz movements are very simple. You simply set it and you're done, as long as it's powered. And that's very nice for somebody new to watches. You don't have to worry about winding it. Further, quartz watches are very slim. They are perfect for dress watches, like the Strengglasnaus, which we'll see a little later, is provided in both automatic and quartz watch styles. I actually have a quartz myself in my collection because I think it's very nice for dressy functions. And that would be my associate with your refreshment. Thank you. You can bring it in. I hope you enjoy. It's on the house. Now, simply sit there like a cute little duck and listen as I tell you about more. Okay, darling? Cute. Now, no time for that now. Well, the other type of watch movement that I was talking about are mechanical movements. These are classic watches. You wind them, storing energy into the main spring, which slowly unwinds, powering the innards of the watch, and making it tick, tick, tick. Depending on the specific movement, they can carry enough power for 2 to 3 days without wearing or winding them. And now, speaking of wearing, with what's called an automatic movement, you don't actually have to manually wind the main spring yourself every 2 or 3 days. Automatic watches will automatically self-wind as you swing your wrist, and as you blithely swing your wrist with your automatic watch at your undisclosed formal occasion, which I am not jealous of at all, yes, while you are just doing that, you will store that kinetic energy of your wrist movement into the mainspring as potential energy, which is very nice. You don't have to wind the watch so long as you wear it frequently enough. One disadvantage is that due to the inherent mechanical complexity, automatic watches are a fair bit thicker than quartz watches. And of course, quartz watches are, frankly, more accurate. Automatic watches, you would take it and wear it. If you like that mechanical side, it is a statement piece. It's an art. If you want pure precision, yes, wear a quartz watch. Actually, as much as I hate to say it, wear an Apple Watch, because that is connected to an atomic clock somewhere. But if you want elegance and interest, automatic watches, frankly, can't be beat. Now, there are some other watch movements that I haven't talked about, like the spring drive. It's a sort of modern combination of the quartz movement and the automatic, and it's really fascinating. It's a wonderful step forward in watch development. However, I don't want to bore you, as I can already see a bit of a cloud forming over you as we talk about the innards of the watch and not even looking at any pretty watches yet. So, how about we look at some pretty things? And I'm not talking about me. Let's look at some watches. You know, I always recommend these Bauhaus style watches for dress watches. They're very, well, Bauhaus is a minimalist design from Germany. It's free of superfluous, bulky design elements, and these Bauhaus watches are just gorgeous to look at. They can have bold colors, but they're generally very simple and withdrawn in their design. Here, first, we can look at this, the Nomos Tangente. This watch, well, most of the options come with a silver case, although there are a few options with gold cases. These over here. You might notice there are a lot of size options. They come in 35, 38, 42mm, and more. Although I personally recommend going on the smaller side when it comes to a Bauhaus style watch. I like either the 35 or the 38mm, or even smaller if you have a smaller wrist. The Nomos Tangente comes in a few colors. We have white, green, cream, and blue. If you want a more colorful Bauhaus design that is still notably Bauhaus without any drama, it's very simple, but you want color, I recommend Sternglass over here. Their flagship model is the Naus, which is very withdrawn. It's extremely similar to the Tangente in that it mostly comes in dials in white, blue, and green. However, Sternglass has made this limited edition Lumatic. It actually won the, I believe it was 2025 German Watch Design Award. It is a gorgeous piece. 38mm with this bright sky blue dial with orange detailing. This watch is a lovely addition to any summer or spring event. It's perhaps less suitable if this formal occasion you're going to is a funeral or something somber, like a, I'm not sure, ambassadorial meeting or something. However, I find that unlikely. I would have probably seen that in the news. Anyway, gorgeous watch. I highly recommend this. And to kind of wrap up this section that we're talking about here, you really can't go wrong with a Bauhaus watch. If you're looking for a dress watch, Bauhaus is where I would look, to be honest. That minimalism is just unbeatable. And now, I feel any discussion of dress watches would be woefully incomplete if I didn't mention the Seiko Presage collection. These watches cannot be beat in terms of affordability and quality, and their dial designs are just breathtaking. Like, look through this case. They're all different, and they're all perfect. I can't pick one that I don't like. Here, look at this one. This is the SRP B41. I adore these sort of dagger-shaped indices around the dial. And the matching hour and minute hands, again in that dagger-like design style. But then the second hand stands out beautifully because it's thin, kind of like a dart, a needle. It's actually exactly like a needle because it has this little open end on the tail. It's just perfect. And now you might be noticing the elephant in the room that I haven't addressed, the dial. It is this kind of gorgeous, it kind of looks like a quasar, if the quasar had more than 2 ejections. So perhaps a neutron star. Oh well. It looks like something from deep space, is all I'm saying. It's just gorgeous. But you also might notice this is quite a departure from the Bauhaus watches. The Seiko Presage, they are dressy, but also just very, very captivating. I'm also very fond of the boxed crystal that you can see. It sort of bends the light in a fun way at the edge of the dial, and it produces a very nice look. Now, of course, the Seiko Presage collection is, as the name suggests, a collection. So, you have many, many options to choose from here. They have traditional dress watches, like the SRPB 41, but they also have dive watches, like the SSK 009. This is a relatively large watch, but it's also still designed to look more like a modern dress watch than an antique dive watch. So, as I said, dive watches are very popular right now. And as you look to be a person with the finger on the pulse of society, I bet you know that. Now, generally, for watches, I would recommend micro brands. They give you often more bang for your buck. So, for example, the Seiko SSK 009. This has a mineral crystal, which means it's very scratchable. But the Baltic Aquascape has a domed sapphire crystal that has a Mohs hardness scale rating of 9, which means it can really only be scratched by diamonds. And this is before talking about the movement, the rest of the build quality, or anything like that. Now, Seiko, they're not bad by any means of the imagination, but if you want a dive watch, I have to say, this right here, the Baltic Aquascape in the classic blue gilt, is my favorite choice. And it comes from a micro brand, which is honestly, I think, more fun. You know, some people will buy a watch for the name. I have a Rolex, you know, but where's the fun in that? Isn't it more fun to be, oh yes, it's a Baltic. You can give a story with your watch. You can draw somebody in. They don't hear the name and say, oh yes, I understand. It's a Rolex. But micro brands give you, they give more interest. Okay, I'm driving this point too far. Let's talk about this watch. The Baltic Aquascape, it's really a modern dive watch. It's inspired by working dive watches from the 60s, and you can see the clear antique stylings. It kind of evokes like this, the Titanic and steamers. You see that those old just classic naval architecture and design languaging is clear in this watch, especially with that blue and gold styling. Classic naval design. But the ways that it kind of is modernized is the diameter. The Baltic Aquascape comes in at 39 millimeters, which is very small for a dive watch, which makes it beautiful for a dress watch. It's not bulky, it's not big, but it still gets that very popular dive watch style with the bezel and everything. And note this domed sapphire crystal. It's just so beautiful the way it catches the light on the dial. It of course has double layer of anti-reflective coating, which is necessary on these domed crystals, or else you would have some very odd optical lensing issues. Now, that Seiko SSK 009 that we looked at, that comes in about 40.8 millimeters. So this Aquascape is a bit smaller, which is again why I recommend this as a dress dive watch. Now that I've talked your ear off for quite some time, has anything caught your eye? That's a wonderful choice. Okay, step over here, and we can get that fitted for your wrist. First, I want to get some measurements of your wrist. Oh, do you intend to wear your watch on the right or left hand? Wonderful. Let me just note that for my records. You see, I keep for all of my clients so that whenever you come to either get a new watch or to just drop in on me if you want anytime, I won't have to ask any unnecessary questions like left or right. With that out of the way, let me just get a quick measurement of your wrist. So if you don't mind, hold out your hand for me. Very good, thank you. We take this measurement right here, just above the wrist bone. We want the watch to sit comfortably just above the bone. You see, the natural taper of the forearm will prevent the watch from sliding up, and the bone prevents it from sliding down. All done, thank you. You did such a good job, wow. Now, I just need to put the bracelet on your wrist so I can check how many bracelet links to remove. Here, hold out your wrist again for me, please. Just like that. I slip this on. Yeah. And now I just am going to pull the bracelet taut, and we can count how many links to remove. See here, I recommend maybe 2 or 3. Okay, well, we'll start with 2 links, and if that's too loose, we'll remove that 3rd link. But I think 2 will be good, especially since in the summer your wrist can swell up a little bit, and you want that little bit of space, especially since when your wrist starts to sweat, the watch is going to stick to your wrist as it is, so a little bit of looseness can be fine. It won't jangle around, really. Okay, so, okay, can you slip that bracelet off for me? Thank you. You're very good at following instructions. Okay, so to remove these links, see, we take this little hammer and this little punch tool. See, it has the little rounded top. You put it in like this, resting on top of the pin, and then you just hammer on the top of this punch tool, and it will push the pins out. Of course, there are different styles of bracelet, but that's the one we're working with here. Simple pin and collar system. We just remove 2 pins. And those 2 pins will allow us to remove these 2 center links. Now, we simply set those aside with the pins and collars, which we will all place in bags for you, so you will have everything just in case you ever need to resize this watch. Now we simply close the watch and reconnect this collar and pin right here. Just hammer it in real quick. All done. Can you try this on for me? Perfection. That looks gorgeous on you. I have always adored that timepiece, but you make it perfect, and it will perfectly accent any outfit you put together, I assure you. Now, before you go, and before we finish up here, here's my business card. It has the shop's number and address, of course, on the front, but on the back is my personal number in case you ever need me for anything, such as servicing of the watch. Now, thank you so much for stopping in. I hope you'll come again. Do enjoy your fancy event, which I am still. That still vexes me, that I don't know. Oh well. Have fun, my new friend, at your event. I'm sure your new watch will turn some heads.